In this lecture, let's take a look at some of the strategies that trainers can use to deliver instruction. Many of you are most familiar with this stage of the program development process, as presentations are common assignments in college courses. In the next module, we'll learn more about the training methods that trainers can use. At the start of any training program, it's extremely important for the trainer to provide a view of the big picture. Trainees need to know what's in it for them. This includes an overview of the training objectives and learning outcomes, a timeline of the assignments, required readings, equipment, software, and other resources, the trainer's expectations for trainees, and what trainees can expect from the trainer, as well as the trainer's recommended strategies for tackling the content. How can trainees remember the material, for example, which we'll cover next? To help learners remember training content, try these evidence-based strategies. First, we all have limited attention spans and tend to learn best when we tackle one piece of a learning task at a time. When we design training programs, we should try to break learning into chunks of approximately 20-minute sessions. And then have trainees take a break or use a different technique like group discussion or self-reflection. This helps keep learners' attention and promotes retention. In addition, trainers often use memory tricks to help them remember content. They should share these tricks, called mnemonics, with trainees to help them remember too. Metaphors and acronyms can help us retain and recall information. Third, things that are new and unusual are sometimes easier to remember because they stand out. We can use photos, stories, guest speakers, and fun learning activities to introduce novelty to the learning environment. We do have to be careful though, because too much fun can distract from the training content and actually hinder learning. Fourth, application-based assignments highlight the link between what is being learned in training and its application to the real world. Essentially, these activities ask trainees to identify some work problem and use what they've learned in training to solve it. As they encounter cues on the job, they can remember what they learned in training and how it can be used in that particular situation. Another way of helping trainees remember training content is to use the principles of microlearning, some of which are shown here. Start by breaking learning outcomes into chunks of more specific skills, and then design shorter training sessions to address each chunk. Microlearning aims to be flexible, so whenever possible, trainees should be able to choose when and where and what they study. They should also have access to materials after the training program. We should present content through different means and then reinforce it with videos, checklists, diagrams, and other visuals, as well as everyone's favorite, quizzes. Quizzes are useful because they not only reinforce content, but they also encourage retrieval of information and provide feedback to trainees. So as much as we all dislike quizzes, they do serve an important role in training and development. We can promote active learning with engaging activities like self-reflection and games. And we can use scenario-based activities to provide practice opportunities and to reinforce content. Trainers can create a more positive learning environment by interacting with trainees. For decades, social psychologists have studied the self-fulfilling prophecy, the tendency for our expectations to impact our behaviors in ways that fulfill our expectations. When trainers believe that trainees can learn, trainees are more likely to learn. When trainers don't believe trainees are capable of learning, they don't learn as much. For this reason, trainers need to stay optimistic and be encouraging and supportive. To engage with trainees, trainers should try some of these strategies. Be enthusiastic and show trainees just how excited you are to share your expertise with them. Move about the room and exaggerate your gestures, especially in large training rooms. Create or find learning activities that are interactive, engaging, and application-based, like role plays and business games. Use a variety of hands-on, group building, and technology-based training methods to get trainees more involved. We'll learn more about these methods in the next module. Ask trainees to complete assessments to learn more about themselves. Class polling and class discussions are two other ways of interacting with trainees. To facilitate engaging discussions, there are a few things we need to do. First, we need to ensure that the discussion has a purpose and that the questions are prepared in advance. Unplanned discussions can be beneficial, but they're much more difficult to facilitate and control. Stick with open-ended questions instead of questions that get you a yes or no response. And always prepare follow-up questions because coming up with them on the spot can be tough too. Group discussions can serve a variety of purposes. They can be used to brainstorm new ideas, apply new concepts to new situations, critique ideas, and review experiences. When you're dealing with large training cohorts, break them into smaller breakout groups and ask them to facilitate their own discussions, while the trainer wanders the room and observes the interactions between group members in each group. Whenever possible, trainers should try to distribute the expertise of the group members in smaller groups. Ask them to indicate whether they are novices, experienced, or experts, and then distribute the expertise so that each group has a mixture of different levels. As you can see, there are many things for trainers to consider when teaching employees. Some companies create what are called train the trainer sessions to prepare their trainers for this very important part of the process.